The Wednesday Night Wars have begun with NXT premiering on the USA Network, and we talk about the show next on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Hello and welcome to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti for the best conversations in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. So we have the premiere episode of NXT on the USA Network happening last night. And it was a solid show and a great way to start the new regime, the new era for NXT. We start things off with Triple H, full screen, doing a great promo, talking about what is great about NXT as you see different stars from NXT showing on the screen. He ends up walking out to the NXT arena and the crowd goes wild. Great way to start this show, and for those casual fans that are watching for the first time, it's nice to see a familiar face here to connect with the audience. And of course, the man that really helped bring NXT to where it is today, backstage, Triple H. I have no problem with this starting off the show, but our first match of the night, a fatal four-way for the number one contendership for the NXT Women's Championship, where Candice LaRae defeated Mia Yim, Bianca Belair, and Io Shirai. A great way to start this show, and the match was a very good match, showcased everybody the best way they could. Io Shirai with her high-flying ability, Bianca Belair with her power, Candice LaRae with her babyface comeback feel. The only one that might have been lost in the shuffle, I think, in this match was Mia Yim, not just because she doesn't have the talent. She definitely does. I just think that out of these four, she just kind of got lost in the shuffle, didn't really showcase that well in this match, but I think it was a great match. Candice LaRae winning that one, and then after the match, we got a stare down between her and Shayna Baszler. Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke were standing behind Candice LaRae, a great shot. And we also got the announced match that will happen October 2nd, the same night that AEW premieres on TNT. After that match, we did get a squash match where Cameron Grimes beat Sean Maluta in about 6 seconds. It was one move, one pin. Before the match, we did get Mauro Ranallo doing a great job putting over Cameron Grimes as the person that lost the finals in the breakout tournament that was happening on the WWE Network just about a month ago before SummerSlam. So nice way to introduce yet another character into the mix. And that was one thing that I will say that this first hour of NXT on the USA Network did, was try to introduce as many stars as they possibly can. And with Mauro Ranallo's commentary, they told you why each of these people were important. I thought that was a great job and, gets people invested. And that's something that the main roster kind of loses in the shuffle. They don't necessarily tell people why we should care about these people. They're just like, all right, we're going to have this match without having the why. And now they're lost in the shuffle and people don't care and they don't get pushed the way they're supposed to. This was a great job for NXT that could have them stand out as the premier brand over the other two shows. But obviously things are stepping up for WWE in all ways. So we'll see how things go with Raw and SmackDown as well. But back to NXT, we have our main event of the first hour. It was the North American Championship match where Velveteen Dream was defending the title against Roderick Strong. And this was a very good match, a great main event for the first NXT show on the USA Network. Velveteen Dream looked really good and really showed why people should care about the Velveteen Dream if this is the first time they've seen him, or this is the first time they've seen him since he was on Tough Enough way back when, under the real name Patrick Clark. Roderick Strong, of course, looking good, directing Velveteen Dream to a great match that we all know they both can have. Screwy finish. We got ref bumps. We got interference from the Undisputed Era. And eventually, Roderick Strong wins the North American Championship and finishes the prophecy that the Undisputed Era would have all the gold in NXT. Obviously, placing the Undisputed Era as the top faction in NXT. And this was awesome to see that they are establishing this faction from the get-go as the top faction, the top heel faction. They needed to do this, and having Adam Cole, the NXT champion, shown on TV, the NXT tag team champion shown on TV, and now the North American champion, all there. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Good match. Now, what does this leave for Velveteen Dream? Let me know in the comments what you think should happen next to Velveteen Dream. Should he go back after Roderick Strong for the North American Championship? Or are we about to see things set up where Velveteen Dream will be eventually facing Adam Cole for the NXT Championship? I would love to see him in a program with Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. I think that's the route they're going. Hopefully that is, because Velveteen Dream just has everything. He's got the in-ring skill. He's got the promo skill. He's got the charisma. He's got the character. He is the full package, and hopefully he can establish himself as one of the top stars, if not the top star in NXT, and it might lead to an eventual call-up to either Raw or SmackDown, which I think he would do absolutely fine in, and they'll find a way to book him very strong in whatever show he's at, so no problem there. And like I said, hopefully this ends up with some kind of matchup between him and Adam Cole in the future. Now we head to hour 2, and there were little problems that I noticed on social media. A lot of people complaining that the network actually crashed. I didn't get to experience this because I didn't watch the shows until after they were live. So I read that some people couldn't even get to watch the second hour until about a half hour in, which is very frustrating, and that is not good for NXT. They only have to do this for one more week, so it won't be that bad of a burden, but it's definitely something you do not want to happen as you're trying to give people a good first impression. So if they're, trying to change from the USA Network to the WWE Network and the network crashes, that's going to leave a bad taste in some people's mouth, especially if this is the first time they're watching NXT, or if this is the first time they're subscribing to the WWE Network and they see that it crashed. They're obviously not going to want to subscribe, and that's not a good look. Definitely not a good look at all. But if you're able to withstand all that or did not experience the network crash, we did get a very good second hour here where it started off with Pete Dunne in a match where I don't know if it did a great service to him. It could have ended in a squash match, but it was about 8 to 10 minutes long. It did showcase him as, a technician, a submission guy, a little bit of everything. And he does end up winning by submission with the finger pull apart spot. I didn't know that was actually a submission, but I guess by pulling apart the fingers and making the guy tap out, he gets the win there. So he looks good with the win, but I think they could have showcased him a little bit better here. Not complaining too much, just more nitpicking than anything, I'll admit. Our next match, we have Xia Li going up against Aliya. A good match here as they showcase Xia Li, what she could do with her mixed martial arts background and her wrestling ability. I thought she looked pretty good, and Aliya looked good as well, with Xia Li getting the victory here. This could be someone that could be a big part of the women's division in NXT for the future to come. She did have her appearance in the Royal Rumble earlier this year, so look out for Xia Li for the rest of this year and into next year for the NXT women's division. Then we have what was supposed to be a scheduled match between Kushida and Denzel Dejournette. But before the match starts, Imperium comes out from the crowd and attacks Denzel Dejournette. But it's only 3 of the 4 members, no Walter. So the crowd is asking, where is Walter? Where is Walter? But then we get the big classical music, the white screen on the Titantron, and out comes Walter, and the crowd goes nuts. Walter cuts a promo where he wants to reestablish the wrestling industry, get it back to where it was, the sacredness of the wrestling ring, and out comes Kushida, who's saying that he's stealing his Walter is stealing Kushida's time, and that he's going to take it back. Kushida goes after all of Imperium, walks out, is able to escape after a couple good kicks. And it looks like we're teasing some kind of match between Kushida and Walter, which could be a fun dynamic. We know how Walter works with the smaller guys, as we saw with Pete Dunne at TakeOver New York earlier this year, and also just recently the match between him and Tyler Bate, which was an amazing match, maybe a match of the year contender. And we all know how great Kushida could be, as he is one of the best junior heavyweights in the world. A great pickup since he left New Japan Pro Wrestling earlier this year. And then we have a surprise return, a number one contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Lio Rush defeats Oney Lorcan, and this was a nice thing to see. Lio Rush back after a long time, continuing all these surprise returns for WWE this week. After we saw Luke Harper return, we saw Rusev return, we saw AOP return. Now we see Lio Rush return. So hopefully they have something in play for Lio Rush as he won this match. It was a good match, a nice dynamic between the two where Oney Lorcan was trying to use his power and methodical approach. Lio Rush using his fast-paced, high-flying approach. There was a good spot here where he did good selling, where he missed a frog splash, landed awkwardly, selling a knee injury. Great match. Lio Rush gets the win. Maybe this will lead to him winning the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Hopefully it does, because he's great on the mic. He's a great wrestler, and I think he would be a great top of the bill for the Cruiserweight division. If, in fact, it looks like we are going to see a little bit of NXT UK. We are going to see a little bit of 205 Live, all under the NXT umbrella, and that is great for everybody as they expand to the 2 hours. Now we go to our main event, which was the street fight between Killian Dain and Matt Riddle. It didn't take long for this one to go to the outside and end up going backstage, but this is where the chaos ends up happening. As they are backstage, we see Imperium again, highly shown on this show. A lot of focus on Imperium. Matt Riddle goes for the knee on Killian Dain, pushes into the table, and all of a sudden we see Walter get up and attack Matt Riddle. After we see that, we see tons of people come out from the crowd, from out of nowhere, and cause a huge brawl. We see the Street Profits. We see the Forgotten Sons, Dominik Dijakovic. There were so many people I couldn't even keep track of who else was there. But it was a good brawl and ends up going back into the ring. But then security comes out and tries to split apart Killian Dain and Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle does a German suplex on one of the security guards. This is where it gets a little... To me, I'm not sure why this happened, but why are they pulling them apart when this was the actual scheduled match? But it ends up in a no contest, and it was actually announced after the show went off air. William Regal announced that this match will restart on week 2 of NXT on the USA Network, where the winner will go on to face Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. Now, I'm not sure if that is for the October 2nd show. Maybe it is. Hopefully it is. But I thought it was entertaining for what we saw, but I think the lack of a finish kind of hindered the way this show could have ended, or the fact that it just went into a huge mess and didn't really end up with anything. That was a huge problem here. I thought overall the show was very, very good. If there's anything to really complain about, it's just that we did not see the top star in NXT at all in this first episode. Where was Johnny Gargano? He's supposed to be the face of NXT, not there for possibly the biggest show in the promotion's history. I know he didn't have a match scheduled. I know he's not the NXT champion, but you would think he'd be out there doing something, having a match, cutting a promo, but he's not there. And I think that's a huge hindrance for trying to introduce all these NXT stars to a mainstream audience now that you are on the USA Network. But overall, this was a great show, and I'm going to give it a thumbs up. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up here. Like this video. Share it all over social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SCPB Podcast. For the best conversations in AEW, WWE, NXT, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. My name is Michael Valenti, and thank you for watching the Squared Circle Psychobabble.